Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Tia Carrere. In the 1990s and 2000s, if you saw her name in the credits, there was a good chance it was going to be awesome. It probably wasn't going to be a highbrow award winner, but those kinds of movies tend to stink anyway. Tia Carrere looked good, and she was often funny. She had been acting since 1984, but it wasn't until the first Wayne's World movie from 1992 that she got noticed in a large way. She was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Her real name is Althea Ray Duhinio Gennaro, and she is of Filipino descent with some Chinese, Hawaiian, and Spanish heritage as well. Her dad was a banker, and her mom was a computer supervisor. She went to an all-girls Catholic school. Since she was little, Althea wanted to be a singer. For obvious reasons, modeling opportunities came up too. She adopted the stage name of Tia Carrere in her late teens. Tia was a nickname given to her by her sister. Carrere was a variation of the actress's name, Barbara Carrera. This was a pretty smart idea for a stage name, as it sounds exotic, and it suited her. In 1984, at age 17, she was discovered by a local producer at a grocery store and got cast in a movie called Aloha Summer. It took her aback because she never acted before and it was so sudden. Afterwards, she moved to LA. This comedy drama was not a bad first acting job, but the movie didn't get released until 1988. It's still an obscure movie, despite the fame Tia enjoyed later on. In 1985, at age 18, she got her chance to be on the legendary talent show Star Search. It was for acting, not for singing. Things didn't work out too good, though, and she got eliminated during the first round. You usually find, though, that people who don't do well on talent shows end up becoming more successful than the people who end up winning. I'm not putting down Karen Frederick at all, but Tia Carrere became a lot more recognized. In March of 1985, Tia got her first TV acting job on an episode of the short-lived action show Cover Up. She played a beauty pageant contestant from the Philippines. She had another walk-on type role that year in a TV movie called Covenant. Right after that, though, she got her first notable TV role in an episode of Airwolf, playing Kiki Tanabe. Tia continued having small parts on TV and in movies throughout the 80s and very early 90s. But right after Airwolf, she got a regular role on the soap opera General Hospital. From 1985 to 87, she played Jade Soong. I had to mention this. In 1988, Pierce Brosnan was given his own TV miniseries called Noble House. It was an action drama, and he played a business tycoon. Although not James Bondy, it still had that debonair sort of quality. In this miniseries, Tia played a man's mistress and was named Venus Poon. This is such an unfortunate character name. Oh well. The first movie I noticed Tia in was Showdown in Little Tokyo from 1991. This was a cool action movie. Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee were the stars. How awesome is that? Tia was the leading lady, playing a Japanese woman by the name of Minako Okeya. Right after that, in the same year, she had a smaller part in another good action movie, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, playing Kimiko. Her next movie, however, was a game changer. She played Cassandra Wong in Wayne's World from 1992. Wayne's World was based on the popular skits from Saturday Night Live. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey were the stars. Cassandra was a new character and became the girlfriend for Myers' Wayne Campbell. Although she had never appeared in the skits, Cassandra became an important character in the Wayne's World saga. After this movie, you really couldn't do a show without her. Not only did it get her noticed as an actress, but as a singer too. After this, she started singing on talk shows and releasing CDs. Ultimately, she would win 2 Grammy Awards for her music. She did some other movies between Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2, but the major one to point out is Rising Sun from 1993. This was another cool movie. By this time, Tia had become pretty established in the genres of action and comedy. She could do both, and it didn't seem bogus. Comedians don't always make the best action stars, and vice versa, but Tia was very adaptable. In Rising Sun, she played another Japanese woman named Jingo Asakuma, and she was a major supporting character opposite of the star, Sean Connery. Then came Wayne's World 2 in late 1993. I really liked this movie, and it further established Tia's importance in the franchise. To be honest, I think they should have kept going with these movies. It would have been great to see Wayne and Garth get married off and have kids while still doing their TV show. I think there was potential for great stories. The Wayne's World movies were a tough act to follow. Or were they? After Wayne's World 2, in the summer of 1994, Tia played a major character in the mega blockbuster True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I could go on and on about True Lies. For action or comedy, movies don't get much better than this. It's certainly one of Arnold's best. Tia had an unusual sort of role in this movie. She played a villainess, an extremely convincing villainess. She was amusing, but didn't say anything comical. She also didn't do much action, despite the fact that this whole movie was heavy on action. Her character's name was Juno Skinner, and she was in league with the Arab terrorists. Basically speaking, Juno was a rat. Early in the movie, she had some lust for Arnold's character. Midway through the movie, she becomes a catty rival for Jamie Lee Curtis's character. There is nothing redeemable about Juno Skinner, and towards the end of the movie, she dies a fitting death. This was a good role for Tia, but I'm glad she didn't get in the habit of playing hateable villains. I like it better when she plays good girls. Now, True Lies was the tough act to follow. After this, Tia was in a lot of movies, but nothing hit as big. Heck, most of Arnold's movies after True Lies didn't hit that big. As far as live action movies go, Tia hasn't had another big hit. That isn't to say that all of them were bad. Jury Duty from 1995 was a bad movie. Very bad. I had always liked Pauly Shore's movies. The preview for this one promised something funny. When I saw it, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe Pauly would make a movie this bad. No one who was in this movie deserves to have it on their resume. Tia just so happened to be the leading lady in this disaster. She wasn't to blame. I don't know if any one person in particular was to blame. It was just one of those things. Another stinker was the action movie Hollow Point from 1996. I was really looking forward to this one too, but it fell flat. It actually had a good cast. Thomas Ian Griffith was the star. Tia was the leading lady, with Donald Sutherland and John Lithgow playing some shady characters. The story just didn't seem very intelligent. For what it's worth, it had some good moments of action, and a few funny things happened, but Tia deserved better. She got a much better movie with the incredibly underrated High School High from 1996. It was a comedy movie starring Jon Lovitz that spoofed all those inner city school dramas. Jon played the teacher trying to help his lackluster students. Tia played the principal's assistant and eventual love interest of Jon, who also tries to help the kids. I thought they worked very well together on screen. You would think it was an unlikely pairing, but it really wasn't. They just clicked. Tia has an interesting character in this movie, and it isn't like anything she did before. She's mild-mannered. By this point, it was clear to see that Tia had range as an actress. She had now played just about every personality type with High School High. The movie was not a smash commercial success. It ruined Jon's chances of leading his own films, although he's had a lot of significant movie roles since then. For one thing, people never liked to give Jon Lovitz any credit. Besides being a longtime player on Saturday Night Live, he wasn't in a lot of other stuff that hit big, so he had that notoriety. I thought he was great in everything he did. Another factor was that I don't think a lot of movie watchers were smart enough to get the comedy. It was picking on a type of movie, and not any one movie in particular. This movie had its own story, and there were a lot of sight gags that were more in keeping with Laugh-In, or a Mel Brooks movie, than a movie about an inner-city high school with a criminal conspiracy. I thought it worked fantastic. I hate those real movies about inner-city schools. The serious ones are such a drag. This one is actually funny and likable. In 1997, Tia was in a real mega bomb of a movie called Cold the Conqueror. Cole was a character created by the author Robert E. Howard, most famous for his other hero, Conan the Barbarian. Kevin Sorbo, famous for playing Hercules on TV at the time, played Cole. Tia played the wicked villainous Akivasha. I wanted to like this movie. I had liked the Cole character. The Hercules TV show was cool. The movie itself had a good cast. It just wasn't very well written. Plus, I prefer that Tia wasn't playing such an evil character. This isn't one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but I haven't seen it since it came out, and I have no future plans to rewatch it. Tia's movies were going south, but something wonderful happened for her in 1999. She got her very own adventure TV series called Relic Hunter. It ran for 3 seasons in syndication. This show was cool. There was a lot of action, adventure, and humor in it. Incidentally, it had a ton of great-looking actresses throughout the whole run of the show. It had an Indiana Jones vibe, but it was definitely not a rip-off of those movies. Relic Hunter had its own identity. Tia played archaeologist Sidney Fox, who taught at Trinity College. How much teaching she got done is debatable, as she was always out looking for relics. Sidney Fox was a great character for Tia. She played a totally positive character without playing up to that lame women equality stuff. Sidney wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. She was good already, and everybody knew it. What I like about Sidney Fox is how unassuming she is. Everything is so matter-of-fact. She's extremely attractive, but she rarely tries to flaunt her sexiness on purpose. As a matter of fact, she doesn't like doing most womanly things, including dressing up. That stuff just gets in her way. With her, as always, was Nigel Bailey. Although hired as her teaching assistant, Nigel spent all of his time following Sidney around. He's a good-looking British guy who is absolutely brilliant with history, but stupid with women. Nigel simply doesn't know how to interact with women at all. Women throw themselves at him, but he just doesn't get it. Sidney and Nigel have more of a big sister, little brother type of relationship. As the series goes on, they get a bit closer where it was possible that they could have had a romantic relationship, but it was never realized. Every episode is different, but it follows a formula. The opening moments of the show has a historic flashback that sets up the story. Then it cuts to present day. Sydney is approached by someone to find a relic of some kind. She and Nigel go off and look for it. Their travels could take them to anywhere in the world. The daring duo get tangled up in some kind of peril. Ultimately, they find the treasure they're looking for, and it's a big happy ending. There are no long, drawn-out, ongoing story arcs. Every episode is self-contained. There are recurring characters, so every episode matters, but it's not a soap opera. This is a good time adventure show. When it comes to movies, her next big hit came in the form of a voice role. Tia played Nanny Pelikai in the Disney animated feature Lilo and Stitch from 2002. This was a huge hit. Tia reprised her role in 3 direct-to-video sequels in an animated TV series that ran for 2 very full seasons. Tia had done some voice work prior to Lilo and Stitch, but this certainly established her as a voice actress. She did not, however, abandon live-action roles, and she has continued making many TV and movie appearances. While all this has been going on, Tia has also maintained a successful music career. As I mentioned earlier, the Wayne's World movie from 1992 got her awareness as a singer. By 1993, she released her first album, Dream. It did extremely well in the Philippines, going platinum there. That same year, she did a song for the soundtrack of the animated movie Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. After that, Tia took a sabbatical from recording. Then she changed focus and started making Hawaiian music. Her second album, Hawaiiana, came out in 2007. This was nominated for a Grammy. Her next album, Aikina, came out in 2008. This one actually did win a Grammy. She came out with 2 more albums, winning another Grammy for her 5th album from 2010. Tia has been married and divorced twice. She has 1 daughter, Bianca, from her second marriage. I like what Tia's done in the past, and I can't wait to see what she does next. She's had a varied and interesting career, while playing some very memorable characters. These are all the qualities that rate her high as a shining star of a Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.